Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Right, today we are going to do, I've been working away in the Beastie Room this morning and I've been doing quite a bit of rehousing, and this is mainly through spiders that we've bred here in the Beastie Room, or some of the stuff that we've bought in as slings that we perhaps haven't got ourselves, and we grow them on for future projects. Well, after doing all of this, I suddenly thought to myself, wow, wouldn't it be nice if we covered the Sabah Blues that we bred early last year. And they are in these tubs here, and they pretty much fossorial when they're babies. So these have already had one move. They were in small tubs. We then moved them up to these, and they've now really outgrown these, so they're really due for a move. Now when you see these, when we get these out, you may well ask yourself, why on earth didn't we just go straight into their forever home? And the reason for that is we're going to put them in these, which is a 32-ounce deli cup. That's quite substantially bigger than what they're in there. It's probably double the size, if not a little bit more in volume. Now, by putting them in here, they will still need another move later on, which isn't an issue. It's not a problem. But by putting them in here, it means I can keep a check on absolutely everything that they do and how they're faring as well. Because sometimes not all slings behave the same. So you may well get half a dozen slings, 5 of which may literally flourish. They may do really well. And you might have one sling that's really slow. You know, for whatever reason that we don't understand, they're just not getting on as well as the others. And by keeping them in enclosures that we can monitor them really easily, it helps us bring them poorly ones on so that we don't lose them, so that we can literally get them up to adulthood. We might find, if they're really bad throughout their period of growing on, that we decide actually we don't want to use that spider. So what we might do with that, in that case, if we've got a spider like that that's, for whatever reason, it could be a genetic thing, it could be anything, but there's something not quite right, we will literally just let it see out its days, and it won't be bred from. We won't breed from it. We will just keep it as a pet, if you like. So so this is what we're going to do. So what we're going to do, we've got all our bits and pieces here. We've got our glue gun. We better just switch our glue gun on so he's nice and piping hot for when we want him. Now another thing that we're going to use here, I've already cut a couple. This here is wood that we've picked up out in the wild, in the woods. And as you can see, it's already like this. And what's happened is this particular tree has died, and this is the outside bark. And what happens is it often comes away from the tree, and you'll find it on the floor, just like that. Just be laying on the floor, just like that, sopping wet normally. So what we do is we collect these up. And these are absolutely perfect for inside your enclosures. And we can cut them, we can do whatever we want with them. But one of the key points, if you collect this wood yourself, leave it out in the garden, because it will stay, it gives it a little bit of suppleness and it makes it a bit more easier to work with. If you keep it indoors, it will go bone dry and it makes it harder for us to actually do anything with it. So what we're going to do now, bearing in mind we've got a couple here that we've done already. We've cut these already. We don't want them like this. We actually want them in halves. So we can literally just put our finger in there. There we go. Just like so. So we're literally just running our hand up inside there. Try and find somewhere like the middle. If you squeeze it, you'll find there is actually a center point, which is around here. So we can go there and we can push up with this hand. There we go. And we just crack them open and we get them out. We want them. So there's 4. We actually want 8. We've got 8 slings to move over today. So we're going to cut this again. Now bear in mind, all we need, this doesn't always work. Nice and steady. See, that one's split already. Yep, that one's broke. So there we go. So we can take that off of there like that, put that one there. That makes this easier to cut now. Watch your fingers. There we go, there's another one. We've got that one there. They don't need to be half round. It's literally whatever suits really, whatever we can get in there. It's only to give them something little, something to sit behind. Another one. So what we got there? 4, 5. Maybe use that one. We'll see. Turn it around. This is a good size. There's another one. 2, 4, 6. A couple more. On there. So you might be able to use that in something else. That might be more useful somewhere else. Don't know. Let's see what we can do. Alright, we'll be able to use that. Right then, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, and we've got a bit here as well. We've got a couple of bits to choose from. Remember what I said about being careful with your fingers?
Have you cut?
We've cut our finger. It's actually amazing, you know. This finger's like Trigger's broom. I've had it so many times and it's been renewed so many times. I'm forever cutting my finger. So we're going to just literally sweep up our mess here. This is one of the beauties of working on the desk. We can keep it tidy. Right, now we're going to get our pots. Now these are going to be really, really simple enclosures. And we've got our... So we've got 8 pots. We'll just use... I find whenever we're using this type of thing for this purpose, we're just moving juvenile spiders on. We just keep it simple. That's all we need to do. Just keep it nice and simple. We can put a reasonable amount in there, and that will just help with humidity and make it easier to control. Don't forget, when they're like this, when we're giving our spider some room to move around, but we don't want to give it too much room. We want it to grow strong. So that's the whole point of why we're going over into this size enclosure. We want them to grow strong. We want to be able to monitor everything that they're doing. There we go. Right, that will do for that. And what we're looking at now is we've got our pieces of wood. And as you can see, that one's too big. You can see that's almost, the actual circumference around here is almost the same as that. So what we're going to do, hopefully we can break the edge off a little bit more. There you go. Now you see how by doing that we've now cut down the space. We've made it closer. We can even go a little bit closer. Sometimes though, if you try and go too close, you risk breaking the whole thing. So there we go. Look at that. You see that's perfect now, because we've now got outside space and we've got a nice tight space here, which is what our spider is going to live behind. So we've got that one there. We just didn't actually want to take the top off of that. That'll be alright. We're going to do the same with this one. We'll put that in there. You can see how nice and easy this is. And one of the benefits is we're not looking at trying to make something pretty, we're looking at making something serviceable, and that's the difference. Right, we're gonna, let's see if we can't. There we go. One more, look at that, we've got one left over. And you can see now where, if we'd had to have gone out and bought all of this, you can actually get through quite a bit. Right, 2, 4, 6, 8, that's right. So there's our bits of wood. We've got a couple of bits left over. When these small bits like this, I often hang on to all this sort of stuff. I just throw it in a bin and I keep it in there. And it's really, really useful for things like very small slings and stuff like that. We can use these bits. Nothing really needs to go to waste. What I did notice, what did I do with it? I still have it here. Right. Now I did notice something when I was working away. Here we go. This is what I wanted to point out. I almost forgot it. If we look in here, this here is an egg sac, and this is from one of our false widows. There's a little baby false widow there. This is from one of our false widows. Now this has been kept out in our garden outside, and we do get an awful lot of false widows around here, and you don't want these inside your enclosure. So give your wood a real good brush off, clean it off. This has actually been a hatched one already, I think. Oh look, there was some eggs there. You see there's eggs there. And we're going to take this out. We don't want this. Now you might think, oh no, this is all a bit harsh. We are absolutely inundated with false widows in this part of the country. They are an absolute menace, and they're a real menace to your spiders. So we're just going to get rid of that. If we walked out onto our porch, we could find another 100 egg cases in the blink of an eye. There is millions of them out there, and we really, really don't want them in here. And this is one of the things that we have to be careful of here. We have to make sure that we go through all of our wood. Before I brought this in, I gave it a good brush off with a brush, and it just, as we were talking, I managed to see that one. Luckily I remembered to go back to it. And so yeah, just be aware, because although we're using stuff from the wild, and I'm always telling you guys, be careful, you know, most of it is very, very safe. This stuff was safe when it was out in the wild. When the problem became is when I brought it back here. And because we've got an abundance of false widows outside, they've taken up residence in my wood pile. So we've got them in there as well. So it's very, very important that you clean it. Make sure that you don't get things like false widows inside your enclosures, because they will cause problems, especially to small spiders. Right, so we've got our tub of water bottles, and now we're going to, our gun should be nice and hot. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. You know when it's just right because it smokes. So we're going to put that in there. Now this is another thing that's really worth mentioning when we bring our spiders up. So you would have seen in the tub that we had it in a minute ago, where it's grown on from a tiny sling. It had one more move up into that particular container. You would have noticed in there, or maybe not, that it didn't have a water bowl. And that's because when they're small, we don't worry about giving them water bowls, because we have found in the past that very small slings can quite often drown in a water bowl. So it's something that I stopped doing a long, long time ago, and I've never gone back to it. So I don't use water bowls on the very tiny stuff. But once we get to the size of these guys, you'll see these are good sized juvies. We then can go back round to getting a water bowl, because they require their water then. They will actually, in actual fact, use it, and in a perfectly safe manner as well. So when they're tiny, tiny little slings, I've found that it's not really that necessary. But once we get up to good size slings, to small juvies, then the water bowl is very beneficial. And I think you'll find half of the reason behind that is because when they are tiny, they are getting more than enough sustenance out of their food. They're getting enough moisture content from their food. Now when as they grow and they start turning into juvie size, the spider itself is much bigger, and the food item generally is still the same size, and they're not getting the same amount of fluid out of it. So you'll find they drink a lot more. All right, nearly there. Let's put them on. Remember, we're using boiling hot glue, but as soon as we put water to it, it actually sets it, and it's no longer hot, and it's no longer sticky. As you can see there, you can probably see the smoke coming off of that, where it's so hot. You have to just watch your fingers, because it can get a little bit warm. It's not going to be too terrible though. And there you go. So that's that done. That's all of our water bowls in, all of them topped up. They're all going to be perfectly fine. There we go. Just make sure they're all sitting there. We'll turn our hot glue gun off because we don't need him anymore. Let's get these over here. Put that out of the way. Right, let's get on with moving some spiders. Move that. Now then, we've got two different lots of Sabal Blues here, and this is another really important thing to do if you're in the habit of breeding your spiders. As you start to breed your spiders and people realise what you're doing, you'll find other people in the hobby that are doing exactly the same thing. Now, we were lucky enough, we've got in contact, or they come in contact with us, Bakmar breeders, and we've had some of theirs. Now this is one of their spiders, this is one of their Sabah Blues. So, and as we see on the label there, we just put Bakmar there, so I know that this spider originated from Graham at Bakmar breeders. Now he bred his Sabah Blues, and they're of a completely different bloodline to ours, and you'll see there's one of mine. You see I just write Sabah Blue on it because I know this spider I bred myself. So now we have got two different bloodlines of the same spider, and what that means is, what we done was we swapped a certain amount of spiders like for like. So neither of us made any money out of it or done anything in that terms, but what we've done is we've both got fresh blood to add to our future breeding projects. So it's really important that if you get the opportunity, then swap with other people that have got the same spiders, and you in turn increase the spiders within your collection. You know, you're making them better. So what we're going to do, this is one of Graham's. These really are quite big. These are the Flamingo Chilus Sabal Blue, as you can see there. Oh, try and get him to come back out again. These are an Asian arboreal. We don't want you going in there, do we? As you can see, this one's molted out. but it's not actually left much of a molt. So what we will do in actual fact is once these are come through, if we find any good molts we can keep them. I think what I'm going to try and do is take this out. Right, there she is. Going to be a little bit, there you go, you see she's a little bit nervous because suddenly everything's hidden away. There she goes. Beautiful, beautiful spider. There you go, she's sat there now. And you can see they're starting to get their colours as well. You see that? We'll get another one. We've got 8 to go. We'll see if we can't get another one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just put that one aside. Take our tub, that go over there. Now then, this is one of ours. So we take our label off. If you've got mixed spiders like this, if you've got mixed sexes or anything like that that you've sexed already, put your label on your tub first. That's the one. It's going to be going in there. Then we can open our tub up. Yeah, now this is one of ours that we bred. As you can see, they dig down and disappear into the bottom. You can see the blue on that. Here she comes. Oh, steady girl. Here we go. Now you can see there that they're actually quite nervous spiders, and they do like to hide away. And when they're very young, they are more fossorial than they are arboreal. Although these are in fact an Asian, what we class as an Asian arboreal spider. You see the blue there, shining out really, really well. It's looking really nice. These lids are a little bit of a nuisance. There we go. Right, we've got another molt there. We'll put that on top and we'll just keep them like that. And you never know our luck, we may just be able to sex that molt. Not today though. Right, here we go. This is another one. Now this one here, this is another one of ours that we've put aside, and this one's already been sexed. This is a male. This is a male, so we put our labels on again. Do that first. That way we don't get confused. Oh, there he is. There he is. Look at that. Now, an interesting thing there, you'll see there that the blue on the legs doesn't appear to be as bright as the other juvies that we've just seen. Now, is that going to be a way of testing these guys in the future? I could do with 3 hands here. What we're going to do, we're going to put that like that. Hopefully this little guy's just going to run in and not up my arm. Nice and gently. See how he's a little bit smaller as well than the others, which is an unusual thing. Quite often the males grow larger, quicker than females. That's it, he's gone in, he's hidden. Interestingly, he was the most relaxed so far. I don't think we've got very many of these sexed already, because they tend to literally destroy their molts. They don't last very long. Here's another one. This one's another one from Graham. Let's see if we can't get this one out. go. This seems to be the easier way of dealing with these, providing she don't run around the corner. Now again, this one's quite dark. So is this one possibly a male? We're going to go here. Look, you see the way we're using the paintbrush? We're blocking her from going back onto the piece of stuff that she's just come from. There we go, nice and gently. Perfect. That was me breathing on her as I went perfect. Made her jump. Alright. So far so good. Didn't see any viable molts in that one, so we've got nothing to check later on with that one. Alright. Let's get another one. So as you can see, these guys we could possibly get another molt in these boxes without any problems. This one's been sexed as a female. So we'll put that one there. I will say with these guys, these are not the easiest of spiders to sex. Even when they're this size, I still have a little bit of trouble differentiating between a male and a female, and they do seem to appear to be quite similar. And this one's going to be a bit more lively by the look of it. There we go. Now this is interesting. This one we have sexed as a female. I'm not sure you're going to see it, to be fair. This one has been sexed as a female, but as you see, it's not really that blue compared to the others. Let's see if she'll run out and... There we go. Yeah, that was quite a dark one. So maybe the colouring isn't giving us too many hints. I'll just close that up because she's looking quite flighty. We're not going to take any chances there. Yes, so maybe we're not getting so much in the way of the colour. The colour's not giving us any clues really. And this is the nice thing, when you've got a number of spiders that you can cross-reference with one another, you can see the differences with them. And like we saw there, the first couple of spiders that came out, straight away we're thinking, oh, is there a difference in the colouring? Because we've got a sexed male and he was darker than the other two. But then you've seen there's another one there. We've had a sexed female come out that looked very similar to him. So maybe it's not so good after all. Right, okay, here comes another one. I'll try and get this around. It's very difficult for me to see what I'm doing and to show you guys. So what we're doing is we're poking down in the wood, literally below where she is. Well, we didn't want that.
Hey, first time.
Right, so what I'm going to do, we're going to take our hot glue gun out of the way, because that's quite warm. We've got our catch cup here. It's never far away. What we're going to do now is we're going to move this. If we move this gently, chances are she'll stay in the corner. There she is, you see? She's down in the corner. So what we're going to do now, we want her to go out this way towards camera lady. So what we're going to do is we are going to put our catch cup here. And we're going to come in this side. I'm going to move around. There you go, you see? So now we've just moved her to where we want her to be. And then you have to be careful when you're on something like this, because you're making a gap that we don't want her to be able to get under. There you go. See how we just sort of lifted her up, put her into the tub. Right. That's that little drama over and done with. So we can put our piece of stuff back in there. Let's get rid of this. Keep our workspace clear and empty. Now then, here she is. We might actually get a really nice look at her while she's in here. Fingers crossed. Now look at the blue on that spider. So much more blue there than what we were seeing in a couple of the others. The others were quite brown. Now bearing in mind, the males to these are in fact brown. And our females are blue. This is an exquisite looking spider. Very, very pretty. Very pretty. Right, we're going to have a little look under here. Look at that. What no reflection, you can see that. Now sometimes you get people that they venturally sex, but this one here is not really giving anything away at all. So we'll have to wait for a molt. Right then. Now then, we're asking a spider that likes to hide, who is now in the open. We want it to go into here, which is pretty open as well. So this could go either way. She's been on one walk around. You see how we're going to maintain contact with her? And all we're doing is we're just gradually putting a bit of pressure on. Wait for her legs. There you go. You see she's opening up. Here we go. You see how she wants to come forward. And we're going to, once we get her legs into the new enclosure. Come on, girl. That's it. Look at the colouring on that spider. There you go. Now she's finding her own way. Maintain contact. There you go. She's found the wood. Perfect. One happy spider. She is beautiful. Oh dear. I was going to say we'll have to keep her, but we're actually keeping all of them. So we're going to hang on to them. Now these are all spiders that are being held back for future breeding. Right, 2 more to go. We're doing well. We've had one go on walkabout, and the rest have been very good. So this is another one of ours. As you can see, if you look in here, you can see now what we were saying about when they're young, they are really, really fossorial. And you see how they've dug these tunnels and they're in there. And this is where they're getting their security from, because they're down deep. Now in these new enclosures, they've still got enough substrate to disappear into if they want to. But now they should, in theory, start becoming a little bit more arboreal. So what I'm going to do now is find out where this one's hiding. You say it's difficult because we can't actually see down in there. There he is. I can see a bum now. Here we go. Here he comes. You know, we're using the harder end of the paintbrush. That's purely because in the soil it works better. You don't want to come out. You don't want to come out. You're going to come flying out like the other one did if we're not careful. Notice this one's quite a bit, whoa, look at that, it made a jump for it. Quite a bit smaller, this one, compared to the last one that we just pulled out. And again, that different colour. A real mixture. Beautiful. So if we're going on sizes and coloration, then we've got quite a mixed bunch here, which is exactly what we wanted. Right, this is the last one. I'm going to get this one over. Now this is as much of a treat for me as it is for you, because being in these pots, as you can see, we very rarely see them. I mean, we literally just see like a pair of legs or a bum sticking out. We never really get to see the full spider. So this is the first time we've seen them as well. You just don't get to see them. This one's looking like it's got a bit of colour about it. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to pull this out. Where is it? Is it hanging onto it, or is it? No, it's in the bottom of the tub. And there's a molt in there as well. What? Right, here we go. This one's larger, you see? Whoa! You went the wrong way. Where are you going? Alright. You see how the lip of the desk works? We've got our catch cup here. As you can see there, they're not particularly bolty. With an arboreal spider, they will be able to work out and climb up and out. Can you see in there?
Mm-hmm.
Right, what we're going to have to try and do is get him to come out, because we haven't got the beauty of him running up the side. What we want to do is get him to come outwards. There we go. See how they like the comfort of being inside. There we go. You see, the trick is just take your time. Just relax. Now we've got him in here. We now need to, as you lift this up, you'll see that we're creating a gap under here. If he can get his toes under there, he will try and push his way out. And you see we've got to lift it quite a bit. You see that gap? It's quite big. You see that? So we're actually giving him an exit. So we've got to be very, very careful. So what we do in this instance is we turn it up sideways. You see how he went up the side of the wall? We took advantage of that and we managed to squeeze the pot together. So just look at what your spider's doing and use its own thing. You know, as it's moving, we can use that to our own benefit and we can catch them. All right, we're going to take that off. This is another really nicely coloured one. So what we're going to do now, you notice we put the lip of it on the edge here, because what we want is when these legs come out, we want them to make contact as soon as possible. If it's over like this, he will run underneath the catch cup, might disappear up my arm, go anywhere. So what we do is we put it down like this so he can't get underneath it. You've got a good view there. Now we're going to gently touch him. There's no need to touch him again. He's already on his way. And there he is. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Wow. That weren't so bad, was it? And you can see there how even when our spiders don't go exactly as planned, if we stay calm and just stay relaxed, we're not going to lose this spider. It's not going to go anywhere. And you can imagine in here it can disappear, go wherever it likes, but the table sorts a lot of the problems out. By having this lip, it gives them somewhere dark, which is exactly the same as when it was hiding in this pot. Every time we dug it out, it went back down. It just wants to sit in the dark. So the lip of the desk is actually giving us that darkness, and that's why they sit still and they're nice and quiet. And provided you use your paintbrush and you move them very, very gently, there's no need to get them running. We can get them to just walk and do things calmly. We're not upsetting them. That's the key. Right, well, they are our Flamingo Chilus Sabah Blues. And I've got to be honest, I am really, really pleased with how they've come on. And like we said earlier on, we haven't got to see these before either. So we can literally just go in there, we open the tub up and throw a bit of food in. They've not had water bowls up until now. So now we've moved them over, they've got a water bowl, and you will find these guys will all drink now, and they'll be good. So what we'll do is we will leave them in here. These are 32 ounce deli cups. I get these from the spider shop. These have got the mesh tops on them. These are the tops that are designed for fruit flies, but they also give us good ventilation. And you might find some of your spiders will chew these tops up. I notice when we use these for males, like things like male avics, we've got one up here. This is a good example. You can see he's chewed the top up. So be careful. Don't put a spider in that is so small that it will come out of one of these holes, because these are large holes. So these are all right. These juvies, they're fine. They won't get through. They won't get their abdomen through there. But a small sling could quite easily walk out of there. So bear that in mind. You can get them with solid tops. I use both. But for these, this is what we've gone for. We like the look of these ones. Right. It's incredible, isn't it? 8 spiders, only 2 molts to check. And we will do them at a later date. We'll keep an eye on them. This is another thing we do with any of our spiders. If we see a molt, we just take it out, put it on top of the enclosure, wherever it might be, and then we can go back at any time. And quite often what we'll do in the beastie room is we'll have a day where we just sit down and we just do molts. And we will go through and we'll just go along all our enclosures and pick up the molts, do them one at a time. Make sure you know where it's come from. I did make the mistake. See, we all make mistakes. And I did make a mistake. When we rehoused our harmonicons last week, I think it was last week when we done it, I forgot to put the label on the box out of the only one that I'd actually successfully sexed. So now I don't know which one it is. Yes, you find it very funny, don't you? Yes. So always put your labels on first when you move your spider. And I don't know why, but for some reason or other, I didn't think I'd sexed any of them. And it wasn't until I went to pick up the old pots and it's got male spider on it. I'm like, oh no, what have I done? So I've now got to wait for another molt because I haven't got a clue which one it was. So yes, don't make the same mistake as I did. Right then, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And we're going to have a few more like this. We've also got some Victorias, which I think we'll probably do next. We'll save them for a video. And it'll be a similar sort of thing, and we can do it all again and really get a nice chance to have a look at these amazing spiders. These are future breeding projects for us. We've got 2 adult female Sabah Blues which have been paired now, so fingers crossed, maybe in a few months time we may get an egg sac off of either or one of them. We never really know. And we've got a young female Sabah Blue as well, which is quite a good size, but she's not ready to breed yet. We'd like to maybe get another year out of her yet before we attempt to breed her. It's always best to let them get fully mature. Right. I think that's just about covered our juvie Sabal Blues. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spiders. And I will see you soon, guys.